So, about that solo Capcom game I talked about in the last related look at.
This is it.
The fuck is this?
This is a game that has 3 in 1 called 3 Wonders.
And also, if you're wondering what it is, Matt, literally I can sum it up with just this phrase. Capcom tries to do Konami.
I mean...
Literally, literally each of these 3 games is them trying to do another Konami title.
Sort of, yeah, because, So real quick, 3 Wonders is basically 3 games put into one. The first of which is Midnight Wanderers, which is pretty much their Contra-like. There's Chariot, which is their Gradius-like, and then there's Don't Pull, which I guess in some regard is pretty much Bomberman, even though Konami didn't own that till later.
Yeah, and it actually looked a bit more like that other game you showed off in one of the arcade collections, the one where you're the pirate one.
Right, Pirate Ship Higemaru.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna wait for him to pop up again because I just noticed something about one of the characters.
Okay.
Really? You mean the Midnight Wanderers?
Yeah, that one. That one there with the gun. He was an assist in the first Marvel vs. Capcom, wasn't he?
Yep, that's Lou.
Yep, that he was in.
And then there's his partner, Siva, who wouldn't appear again until a unrelated shooter game that Capcom did a while back with assistance from Psycho. And then, I don't know who the heck this chick is, but she's, well, according to the game, an old friend. But, yeah, basically these 2 long-nosed weirdos are the Midnight Wanderers. 2 adventure-seeking chaps that are, well, called the Midnight Wanderers.
I love how they just rolled off the edge there like they were a Donkey Kong character.
But, yeah, so that's basically our whole kind of legendary adventure that we're going to go on. And, yeah, I wish there was some audio for this cutscene, but it's over. There we go.
Adventure!
So, right away.
Yeah!
Boom. Boom.
And, yeah, we'll say, it is Contra.
This is Gunstar.
Seems like
Yeah,
it.
actually,
I can see that.
this is more along the lines of Gunstar, though you don't quite have a multi-directional movement.
Mm-hmm.
Or, like, multi-directional aiming, rather. You can only shoot sideways, you can shoot up and down. That's literally all you got.
But real talk, like, it genuinely, like, from what I tried out with you, it plays rather smoothly.
Yeah, no, I think it handles pretty well.
Now, I guess I'll... Oh, you first.
Well, I guess I'll start off by saying a disclaimer. I'll try to stick around for as long as I can, but there's a chance I might have to leave before the video ends because I'm expecting one of my folks to come back with dinner. But I will say, like, as far as the characters themselves go, with how their running animation looks like, I get the impression that they should be moving a bit faster than they actually are.
I mean, fair. At the same time, though, the entire, like, game, like, the sprite work is pretty dang big, so, and the space is a little more compact, so the slow running speed isn't really that big of a turnoff for me.
And there is a dash move you can perform.
I only say that because when I look at the animation, it kind of looks like they're intending to move faster than they actually are, if that makes sense.
Also, yeah, Wispy has seen better days.
This honestly looks like Wispy
If he was
I would say he looks like Wispy if he was played by that one that hard apple cider mascot.
No, it looks more like Wispy played by Willem Dafoe.
I could actually see that too, actually.
DDD.
We strike for his heart.
So, one other thing regarding Midnight Wanderers is that it does also run under Ghosts and Goblins logic. You get hit once, you get stripped down to your underwear. Though on the bright side, you do wield your weapons a little faster in this form. But you get one more hit after that, and you're dead.
Yeah, and as you're seeing here, the camera is very helpful for player 1. But anyway, crap. Also, man, now you guys got me thinking about me and you could rule this forest Meta Knight.
Now I'm just thinking, now I'm just imagining, say it's just another stock Kirby game, and you have the obvious, fight with Wispy Woods. When he comes alive, the first thing he goes, "You've taken your eye off the ball, Kirby."
There's just so much to it, and I'm curious to see if he is going to. Wasn't there I don't know if it was a rumor if they're going to actually have him come back to play Green Goblin and anything related to.
That has not been a rumor confirmed yet. The only 2 that have really been confirmed is Alfred Molina and Jamie Foxx.
Gotcha.
As far as the villains go, anyway.
But
before I do forget, we're actually going to come up to a boss here that shares a trait that Ridley would later adopt in the GBA Metroid games. Observe.
He's very loud.
Oh.
Very loud with very high compression on the audio.
I'm sorry. that's not nearly as loud as... That's nowhere nearly as
Fusion
loud
Ridley?
as Ridley X.
Okay, Ridley X, that was his name. Like, I knew it was a Ridley, and I knew it was Fusion. I just forgot that the name was X.
Yeah,
Just be careful. He's certainly a lot more mobile than Ridley X is.
Yeah. Well, no, Ridley X can fly, pretty mobile, and Ridley X is also fucking, like, it's an easy boss. The problem is, it disorients you at the very beginning of the fight with how fucking loud the screech is.
I can see
Also,
that.
I will admit, I am mostly talking from, my experience playing the PSP remake, where I think they did up that voice channel a little too high.
Oh, that could be okay. Actually, let's talk about that. Why are we playing? So, when you came to me to play this game, we did not touch it on any of those Capcom PSP collection. when you showed up at my doorstep. No, anyway.
Oh yeah, did I forget to mention that the villains that we're dealing with in this game are literally evil zodiac signs?
Oh, makes sense. In fact, actually, more on that later, actually, Matt. But yeah, no. When you showed me this game, we're not touching the Capcom collection. We're playing it on more or less original hardware-esque, thanks to MAME. Why are we doing it like this for this game?
Because, well, I would have. Long story short, it'd be a lot harder to set up something like this on a PSP emulator.
It doesn't allow. That is fair. That's fair.
There is some sort of ad hoc net play, but I don't have the slightest bit of know-how to how that would work.
Darn.
Yeah, I understand, yeah.
Oh, what the hell was I talking about? Of course, yeah, no way the PSP would have local multiplayer. How would two people holding that thing make that work?
I feel sort of bad for the shell-looking creep. He looks like he dreads his own existence.
I don't want to.
And just, especially when he's hit, he's like, oh my god!
Why did they design me this way?
Another day being a shell and I'm exploded.
I don't mean to be shellfish, but I always wanted to be a shellfish.
Well, now it's your turn to see this face, James.
Dun-dun. Nah, it's okay. But yeah, regardless from what I saw, the fact that this is only like one...
Habitat.
But yeah, honestly, the fact that this is only one of 3 games you could play, this... I honestly don't mind this. Like, this alone could have just been its own cabinet.
I mean, yeah, even though this is actually a pretty short game, despite that. And I will also say, Logan and I actually did debate having us just do the whole thing for the channel, but as it is right now, I just wanted to show off, like, the 3 Wonders things at large. We could probably do this again later, but we'll probably do it live.
Yeah, because I was about to say, like, I feel like it's probably one of those games that would be a little bit tedious to do post, since I imagine the gameplay doesn't change that much from beginning to end.
Not really. The most that does change is all the visuals, because I decided to cut this out, but we did briefly play level 3, which is very much Pinocchio's Wicked Wonderland.
Ooh. American McGee's Pinocchio.
Essentially, yes.
I mean, you say that, but I mean, we
He'd make it, you know that.
Yeah, you make it sound like I'm not against. You make it sound like I'm against it.
I was also gonna say, yeah, they already did that. Literally, honestly, most fairy tales you can think of, American McGee already did a game for it. It's called the frickin' the frickin' Grimm Brothers Grimm game he did.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention this earlier, but that magic lamp we just picked up, that does give you 1 extra hit point in case you lost one.
Yep,
Okay.
and flame and sword vitals. And yeah, no, if you ever... I don't... Your experiences with the game will vary, Matt, but yeah, so American McGee made a game called Grimm, which effectively, the way it plays, I'll admit it, part of it is a little brainless. The fact is that it plays very much like Katamari. Do this and this until you can become large enough to infect other items. And instead, it's about a character who wants to corrupt the goody Disney Two Shoes versions of these fairy tales to try and make them closer to what the original tale was like.
Ah, I guess you could say that man is pretty grim.
Don't. It's his name. You can't. You're not allowed to do that if it's his actual own name and not the name of the franchise.
I am allowed to do it. Fuck you.
Well.
Alright, so the next game in our 3 Wonders catalog is Chariot. Spoiler warnings, by the end of the Midnight Wonders, they did get the Chariot.
Yep, they won.
And this is the game where they get to make the most out of it.
Oh great, it's about demo, I got it!
No, but anyway, apparently literally less than a week or so after the events of the first game, the second game happened.
Yeah.
Which meant
So,
the princess got captured
in
again.
in a Kingdom of the Sky, not Zelda sent this fairy to call to our aid.
It really does look like Zelda.
And the villains also... Go ahead.
I was about to say, it's funny because I was looking back at the princess of the first game. She feels like someone that would be really not unfitting in Dark Crystal.
Shit, you're right. She honestly does kind of look like the heroine of that story.
Yeah.
So yeah, now we got Chariot, Adventure Through the Sky, and as we said before, this is our Gradius.
And yeah, well, more than the sky, the villains really decided to up the ante because now we're into space.
Through the power of our mighty chariots, which apparently came in twos.
Which I will say, unlike Gradius, this does have a neat little mechanic of how the options in this game work.
Oh, what's that?
See that thing dangling from our behind?
Yes, your tail.
I have a question.
Yep.
Does the third game still have the same two characters?
Oh, no.
Nope.
It's actually entirely separate. It's a little odd.
It's weird, but I mean, I guess in some way, how do you make a Bomberman-esque puzzle sort of game with these guys?
I'm sure you can find a way.
You can do it. You can do it.
I'm sure there's a way, but this really does more or less come across as the idea of like, especially with how James was saying how the first game wasn't too long. This whole collection as a whole kind of feels more like the developers were sitting there going, okay, we need a game to launch this year. What do we got? And they're like, well, we don't have a hour to 3 hour experience, but we do have 2 to 3 half-an-hour experiences. Perfect. Just put them together.
I will say, for what it's worth, though, like, it's not every day, especially back in the old arcade days, where you literally had 3, like, original games, like, packed into one.
Oh, no, again, I think the first one could have been its own game alone. There's a lot of variety to this.
No kidding.
But, okay, yeah, so anyway, we're explaining about how the tails work.
So the tails are, well, they work in 2 ways. First off, they can actually be, like, their own, like, they can actually be treated as their own separate attack. Like, if you, like, nudge the tail onto an enemy, it'll destroy them.
Yeah, like a whip.
Though they also serve as ammo for your super attack.
Yep, so that's how it works. It's kind of a close... So I like this, because now as a shooter, you actually have some form of close-range combat, especially for things behind you. Gonna destroy Baz here, don't worry. There we go.
Behind.
But, and anyway, more into how this game, its development and stuff. We actually were gonna bring this up that, it was interesting that we brought up the Zodiac thing because, I'm sure there's already a trivia video somewhere that covers it, but James and I believe that this was another big inspiration for Cuphead.
Yes.
I mean, I could definitely see that, at least for the first game.
Oh no, for those clouds, I can definitely see as well.
Not just those clouds. Wait till we get to our major bosses, like this one, for example.
This guy is fine enough, AEOLUS. No kidding. Get him.
Actually, yeah, I take that back. And the second major boss we come across is very clearly supposed to be Hildeberg.
Yep. Or at least one of her phases. But yeah, so we definitely think this is another one of those games that that Cuphead was referencing, which you know, we'll get that delicious last course eventually.
There's a lot of games and like even like very obscure ones. Very obscure games that Cuphead references.
Yeah, like, again, it's honestly funny because, like, it even extends to such an obscure title like this.
Seriously, I will admit, this is the first I ever heard of this.
My tail's longer!
Shush.
By the way, I'm totally still not salty that this game didn't get put on the arcade stadium yet.
There, again, I would be totally okay if they were going to plan, like, some sort of, like, if this was just going to be their competitor of sorts to the NES Online system. I think the Switch could become like the ultimate classic game like device of our generation if a lot of people just kind of, you know, buck up and try it out.
I mean, to be fair, the 3DS was sort of like that for a while.
Right, but this will be that but better.
Right, more horsepower.
More horsepower, less 3D.
I mean, the fact that this thing can already run its own version of the RE engine, which not only houses a literal game compilation, but also a storybook-centric Ghosts and Goblins title.
I guess I should ask that, because we were talking about like the Capcom games running on the RE engine that are on the Switch. Like, did they say, like, what capacity was that engine running for those games than, like, say, the recent Ori games?
What do you mean?
Like,
Well,
was
you-
it like,
you said
is
it
it a
was running
modified
off the-
engine or?
Well, what I meant was, like, you said it was running off the RE engine, and they're on the Switch, but they run just fine. Like, do they run any better on, like, the other consoles than they do on the Switch?
Well, to that we can't say right now because, well, it's not on other systems yet.
Right.
also,
we need-
Resurrection is Resurrection is a Switch exclusive.
Currently, it is, yeah.
Yep.
I have
same.
heard I have heard that in Arcade Stadium though will come to other consoles later.
Okay.
Right. But yeah, and I'm gonna apart from RE5 and I think RE4, Matt, what other RE games are on Switch right now?
Well, the
4, 5, 6, pretty much all of them except for 3
Okay.
and 2.
all of them except for the 2 remake.
I love this.
You're squishing these moves up.
Okay, so except the 2 remake.
Except for the 2 remake, the 3 remake, regular 3 or regular 2, I believe, and in Japan only there was a cloud version of
7?
Resident Evil 7, and it wasn't that great. From what I heard.
Which
Darn.
is why we didn't get it in the States.
Because I could see 7 working. They just need to lower the texture fidelity a smidge.
Well,
I think.
now that we have a Switch specific version of the RE engine, it's possible. It just take a lot of you know, finer
And
touching up.
here it
And
comes.
here we
Yeah.
go.
Hello, Hildeberg, obviously.
Yeah.
Honestly,
and we
no.
think. Well,
Honestly, no. This basically looks like a fucking Cenobite version of Hildeberg.
yeah, but yeah, we think that this is what inspires A, her Zodiac usage, and B, her final form.
Makes sense.
But so yeah, we're gonna take them down and hopefully be done with that. But yeah, honestly, I am surprised we never saw anything more with these two, despite them having 2 games and being used in Marvel vs. Capcom, the first one.
Again,
just the
yeah.
first one.
Yeah, Lou was a support in the first Marvel vs. Capcom, and Siva got to be a playable character in what was it called? Cannon Spike,
Oh, okay.
Cannon Spike.
which is a game that got ported to Dreamcast. I wouldn't mind covering at some point or another, just for how weird it is. Now then,
Yeah.
before we end things off, why don't we go to our last game of the 3? Don't pull.
One of these things is not like the other.
And
One of these things just doesn't belong.
one of them is cute-ish and has buns and is effectively. At first, I thought it was mainly just trying to be the gameplay from Goof Troop, but no. Now I realize it is
Where's the
more or less.
sound?
It's a tutorial. It's the attract mode.
Yeah, we'll get. Oh, there it is. Ask and ye shall receive.
Ouch.
Bye,
But
bye.
yeah, no. Yeah, it's basically Bomberman if all you could do is kick.
Push
Oh,
box even.
So
So
that's
yeah,
about
player
it.
1 is the bunny rabbit, whereas player 2 gets to be the cute little squirrel. And
Oh,
I'm partially convinced that that one bunny playground decal from Dead Rising probably came from this.
I want to ask, is it possible for you guys to accidentally squish each other?
I don't think you can squish each other, but you can. I think you can stun.
Okay, because I was
okay.
about to say, Logan came really close to accidentally squishing you back there.
Yeah, I
Just
noticed
one
that.
time. I'm innocent. So yeah.
I mean, look at me. I'm a cute little squirrel.
You're as
But
innocent,
I
yes.
totally don't have a
you're as
drinking
innocent
problem.
as Agent 47.
There it goes.
Ow.
So from what you've seen so far of these games, Matt, which one do you think you prefer the most?
I'm going to be honest. None of them.
Aw.
But if you had to pick one,
This one.
okay.
Whoop,
What
there
about you, Hype?
I'm interested in the first 2. Well, honestly, I would say I feel like all 3 of them would be interesting to try out. I'm just not quite sure if I'm in a big hurry to, because I'm also just like, I mentioned my backlog before, but I'm also kind of anticipating other games to release. Like, at the time of recording, we only have a couple of weeks before Crash 4 drops on the Switch.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be a big
You
one.
get to feel the same infuriating rage that a couple of us feel.
Only to a lesser degree, because Polar's not as jank anymore.
Yeah, no, they did talk about that, even though. Yeah, I'll agree. I feel like I wish they would have prioritized it a bit more, but
Oh boy. But yeah, honestly, like, I know you kind of, like, you know, like, joke in a cynical way about that, but honestly, I feel like I've mentioned this before, but, like, The obnoxious completion requirements notwithstanding, I'm genuinely looking forward to Crash 4 because everything else I've seen about the game I've adored to pieces.
Well, definitely. And James, do you have a favorite of all these three that we've been showing off?
I mean, I guess considering how many times I picked it up, I would probably say the first one, just because running guns are something I have a bit of an attachment to, like with Metal Slug or Mega Man.
Okay, here's my thing, though. I do like I did like what I saw in the first one. I do like running guns. My only problem is that just the style didn't click with me on that running gun.
Like, do you mean like the art style or the way that the gameplay's presented?
The art style, for the most part.
That's fair.
I mean, yeah, it does have that very vintage CPS1 Capcom style, which I mean, it's not going to appeal to everyone.
Yeah. So yeah, beyond that, I had a lot of fun trying this out.
No!
Kill them.
Clones!
Mom and Pop got busy!
But yeah, I have fun with this. It was a neat little collection, and I do hope that Capcom addresses any other little gaps that kind of slipped in from everything.
Yeah, like between that or the Darkstalker games, Red Earth, there's like a whole bunch of other stuff they could put on the arcade stadium, and whether they do is...
I'm fairly certain that, like, Capcom has just completely forgotten that Darkstalkers exist, or are actively trying to ignore it.
I guess so, considering the fact that, they do still use them a lot in other material, like Marvel vs. Capcom, or heck, even a lot of their promotional material, they still flaunt them on a regular basis.
Right.
Or at the very least, flaunt Morrigan.
They're very much a part of the Capcom family, whether we want them to be or not. It's just a matter of, will they really get much time in the limelight aside from that?
Yeah, that's fair.
On that note, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for our look at, and stay tuned next time as we force Logan and Matt to partake in quiz games.
What?
Oh.
Who wants to be a millionaire?
Oh no.